you have those wealthy and they were arguing over which is the best way to make money. Trump represents what's called the national bourgeoisie, the national folk, the folk who make their money here. They have trouble with TPP and all of these other things because they're concerned that you won't have any money and you can't buy their products if you don't have a job. They have an argument between themselves. Now, Trump was able to get up there and seize and say that he represents the average working person. What? Incredible. A billionaire becomes the hero of working people. A billionaire who doesn't pay taxes becomes the hero of working people. A billionaire who cheats all of the other small businesses and they can't survive because they can't beat his lawyers becomes the hero of working people. That has more to do with he's saying the message that they want to hear rather than who he is. They ended up forgiving him over and over and over again. And that man needed forgiveness every day. Every day, seemingly, he would say something and you would flinch and say, oh, I know he can't survive this. And seemingly it will propel him higher. Amazing. Amazing. But we also have to be fair, you have to acknowledge that the system put its finger on the thumb of justice several different ways. The FBI got into this race. Come on now. They got into that's your finger on the scale of justice, my friends. They got into this race and they killed it for that woman, for Hillary. She never was able to recover from that. And then to come out a day or two before the election and say, oh, nothing there. Damage done. That's the finger on the scale of justice. Now we could argue why and how and all the rest, but be clear that it happened. But wait a minute. She is no stranger to this because look at the finger on the scale of justice they had with the DNC and Bernie, where they cheated that man left, right, and center. Well, this is where we live in. All right. Where are we? And as my colleague, Leroy Comrie, Senator Leroy Comrie is here, I just want to acknowledge that. Let me say where we are, then let's talk about what we should do. And I suggest to you that you have three possibilities of what may happen. Three. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Trump will end up one of these, the good, the bad, or the other. And there are historical precedents for each one. Let me try to go through there. The good. Trump starts out with all this popularism and he's, taking stuff that that there's no history that he has believed in this stuff. But sometimes you can become if you start wearing a coat long enough and saying things, you're going to start becoming those things. You could. Trump may turn into a popularist, as in Evita Peron down in Argentina, where they started out super rich and next thing you know, they decide that, they start feeling for the little guy. It is conceivable, I don't think highly possible, however. It is conceivable that Trump absolutely starts fighting for the rights of working people and doing those type of things. It is growing more doubtful by the day based on his allowing the different lobbyists to get into his government. He railed against them and now, lo and behold, he's bringing them in. So it is growing more and more doubtful that he is going to accept this role. he has put out what he's going to do in a plan for 100 days. And that plan, from the perspective of the people in this room, is bad. We're talking about the bad Trump. He has put out a plan, and he has said that, of course, he's going to go after Obamacare, but he's also aiming at Roe v. Wade, women's rights. You're going to see attack on affirmative action. What little we have, you're going to see attacks on all of these type of things, which puts us into a situation similar to the Reagan Revolution, as they like to call it, but only worse. Reagan at least was an ideologue. He believed in things. He had a clear direction, and he was going someplace. And we have never recovered from the Reagan Revolution. When you look at affordable housing in New York, or in the nation for that matter, Reagan is the one who started cutting the budgets of affordable housing, which has helped lead to the situation we now have, including increased gentrification. Reagan did it, Bush did it, Bush the senior did it, Clinton did not undo it, Bush the junior did it, Obama did not undo it. So we are now in a situation where affordable housing is at an all-time premium, and not to have politics counts. You may not feel it immediately, but your children will, and their children will. So that is the bad that we will see. Of course, you will see the Supreme Court. My goodness. And knowing Donald Trump, he's going to pick extremely young arch conservatives. Folk who got a good 50 years in them. So you are sitting in front of stuff that your grandchildren, if you're young, will feel. See that young man right there in the middle? Name is Lewis. His grandchildren will feel the effects of this one. Politics counts. Politics is real. So under those conditions, that is the bad. Now let's talk about the ugly, the third possibility that people really need to watch. Donald Trump, to get his momentum going, borrowed heavily from a group that we commonly call the alt-right. Anybody picking up on this?
Yeah.
Can I encourage that you all need to study this? The alternative right, alt-right, ALT-right. These are your Nazis and Klansmen who usually don't wear a uniform. They think of themselves as the smarter folk. And they are they have got some of the worst poison that you could think of. One of them just declared, when Donald Trump won, he declared that he was for the elimination of the brown people. My God. This language, this is old stuff. So you got a historical precedent for this. In the 1920s, President Woodrow Wilson actually was a Princeton University professor, and he became the president, and he gave the green light to the Klan. He had a new technology had come out called the moving pictures, and he brought in the original Birth of a Nation, one of the most vicious and wicked films that you could see. It's filled with historic inaccuracies left, right, and center. But they had this movie, and he had that played at the White House, and he said it was like history was written with lightning. where he gave a green light. That movie was about the Klan and how the Klan saved the South from carpetbaggers and from black folk. Birth of a Nation. So under those conditions, he gave the green light to this, and it is conceivable that by picking one of the alt-right philosophers, quote unquote, as his chief of staff, Bannon, the chief of staff, the potential chief of staff of Ronald Reagan, of Donald Trump, comes out and helped create the alt. In fact, he's the author of the term alt-right. By picking him, you are really opening up a floodgate. By the FBI being politicized, and imagine for a moment, Rudy Giuliani as the Attorney General. I mean, goodbye. Eric Gardner, all of those cases, gone. Totally thrown, absolutely. In fact, those cases are gone for all practical purposes. We should fight for them, but those cases are gone. Without a Department of Justice, as weak as it was taking on these issues, under Giuliani, goodbye. They will also, it is conceivable. Now remember, this is the ugly trajectory. All of these are potential paths. We don't know what the path is yet. I'm not predicting a future. I am giving you different trajectory, different possibilities that these things can go. So with that being said, you may see a new rise of the Klan and those type of groups because no one will prosecute them for their outrages. Now these groups are, by their very nature, they cannot be nonviolent. It's just not the nature. When you speak of the elimination of brown people, they also call y'all mud people. Love this stuff. When you speak of this type of elimination, it keeps going higher and higher until finally people are moving on these things. So those, I would suggest to you, are possibilities of what may happen under these conditions. And I will speak of what we should do about these things in a few. But I see my fellow speaker here, and I want to yield, and I want to, first thing first, our MC is here, and that's Leroy, I'm sorry, Senator Comrie. And I got you your cheat sheet. Everybody needs a cheat sheet, brother. Everybody needs a cheat sheet. And under those conditions, I'm going to sit up here and wait to see if there are any questions. Sir.